Oh, oh, your city's like dust, my friend. This is the energy signature for the air sign collective. And when I dropped into your energy, spent some time there actually. I was really enjoying the way the messages came through for the earth sign collective. And I was like, maybe I want to journey with Jim Morrison for the next 72 hours for all of the collectives. So this is what time we're on around here. This is something that's really resonating with me. That song, of course, is not by Jim Morrison, but I was sitting here after I did the Earth Sign Collective read the other night and dropped in for the premiere of that with you all in the chat and decided I'm going to go ahead and drop in with the Air Sign Collective and just see what wants to come through. And I was kind of curious if that Morrison theme would continue, and it did in a very unusual, unexpected, very Uranus kind of way. There's a lot of emphasis on the Uranus energy, which is a modern planetary ruler for Aquarius. Of course, we are looking at Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius with this particular read. And collective consciousness as well. We have to look at that with Libra hanging out in the South Node at this time. We also have a lot of action going down collectively with Aquarius. They are hosting Pluto, so they're leading the charge of the Aquarian age. And then on top of it, we have Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini right now. Jupiter is a ruler of both Pisces. It's also a ruler of Sagittarius, okay? And it's really interesting with that alone right there because currently Jupiter is in Gemini, and that's a very long transit that's going to be with us until the nodes of destiny shift. So we won't get to that point until next summer, and that's when we really start stepping into the expansion. We're easing our way in right now, but do look for things to start to become a lot more spontaneous. That's just how the energy is going to flow. Plans will sort of fall flat. That is the way it is. And the more that you are attached to doing things in an old way, an old sort of stuck in the mud rut sort of way, the more that you'll be held back. So you have to kind of push the edge with this energy that's coming in. And then what's interesting about that piece that came in with Uranus is that you may be wondering why I got these cards sitting out here, because you'll hear a lot of different interpretations about what signs are associated with what cards. Now, Libra has quite a few cards they're associated with in the tarot. Justice, of course, judgment as well. They're also associated with the Empress. So they got a few cards connected to them in the major arcana. And then Gemini is the Magician. And a lot of times you'll hear other interpretations of that. Some will say Aries. There's times when I do really feel it holds Aries energy. And the reason why I say that is because it is this figure holding up a wand. And Aries is the first house. They lead the charge. And they do sort of like take up that initiatory action that sets the rest of the zodiac in motion. So for me, this makes complete sense. Now, I've also heard people call the Magician Aquarius, but if you look it up, the traditional association is with Gemini, which I think is really fascinating because it's not often that you hear people refer to the Magician as Gemini. And so it's kind of a wild card energy, and maybe that's a little bit of narrative that's been spun around the archetype of Gemini. Sort of saying, oh, they're in two minds, they can never be decisive. They're always in that sort of divided state. But actually, no better way to learn how to unify something than to have to deal with that sort of frisson within oneself. It really does test your mettle, and then you learn how to alchemize certain extreme polarities to find the center. So Gemini is actually the way through right now, which I find extremely interesting. And a lot of it has to do with communicating in a new way. What way? Visually. I'll bring more in around that. but it's a new way that's beyond words. And this is why so many people are finding it difficult to communicate with others, because we can't communicate the things that we need to communicate about what's coming in verbally, but we can visually. We can by moving it into action, you see. And I think it's fascinating with the tower there, okay? Because the tower is normally associated with Mars energy. So you'll hear people say Scorpio, you'll hear people say Aries, and I've brought those in before myself. And there's also the traditional association, which is with the planet Saturn and the sign of Capricorn. Now, I haven't heard Capricorn much, right? So it's fascinating. People get very attached to their beliefs about things. And you have your traditionalists like, well, this is the only way to read the tarot. Don't you dare deviate. What's funny about that is that, you know, beliefs are just something that you decided was true and you ran with it. And that's the way all beliefs come into being. And they're always open to reinvention, you know, and it's the time of that. And if it works for you, and if it speaks for you, and if it activates your potential in some way to hold a certain belief, then hey, more power to you, as long as it's not used to have power over another, right? We all need to rock free in this world, man. But what's interesting is that Aquarius also traditionally has Saturn as its ruler. Modern ruler of Aquarius, though, is Uranus. And Uranus came in very strongly with this lunar cycle that we're moving through. And Uranus, to me, is a lot more like the tower, right? It's that bolt that comes in out of the blue. It's unexpected. It blows your mind. It's surprising. It's shocking. It has the potential to make things very chaotic, you know, bring down a house of cards. Okay. It's also electrifying, energizing. It is that energy of the fire that initiates, right, the new cycle that the magician brings in through transformation, transmutation. And that's when we arrive at this place of balance, also paid in full, you know. There's things that we are paying in full at this time. There are karmic cycles that we are closing because of this time that we're moving in. There's no way to sort of bring the energy of what was forward into the future. It is going through radical reinvention. And so air, you're at the forefront of this. And the reason why you're at the forefront of this is if the way through is through alchemy and transformation of the old into something entirely new, with the magician here and learning a new way to communicate that vision, share that vision, 808 on the clock. That's that angel number of being on the right track. Then there is a need. There is a true need to be able to completely revolutionize oneself, revolutionize one's path, and step into something that is completely unfamiliar, makes you feel very uncomfortable, 8:44 on the clock, out of your element, pushes you to your edge, doesn't allow you to communicate or move in the way you're used to. And because of that, it pulls something new out of you. That can feel destructive, but it's actually very cathartic. It's actually something that can help catapult you into greater expansion on every level. And when we're looking at the cycles of manifestation, it first comes down from the ether, the air, looking at it elementally. So air is going to activate this change through communication. How? Through communicating in a new way that's action-based, that puts thoughts, visions, ideas into motion, not just concepts that rattle around the brain. And then after it goes from air, the cycle of manifestation then moves on to what? It moves on to fire, okay? So we see that wand is up there, and we already have a hint of the fire there opening up with Aquarius, with the lightning bolt that comes in. It comes in from the ether. It comes in from the air. It strikes like a bolt out of the blue. but it ignites that same charge as fire. Air and fire merge together, fuels the fire of the vision that is about bringing a sense of balance. Now, it's interesting to me here with this balance because we have the scales of justice. And the scales, if you look at them, they can be a crucible. They can hold a certain energy. And in the case of the scales of justice, we often look at that as the scales of Ma'at. Is the heart lighter than the feather? All right. This interesting energy here. And we think of the ability for the scales to hold something, which does give it that quality of like cups or water. And with that, we have the sword here too, the air, the truth. This is speaking of the full progression of energy to acquire those 4 treasures, those 4 jewels of the Tuatha De Danann that we have talked about. You see them all here. Once we pass through the initiatory gateway that Gemini is presiding over. So first things first, pay attention to where you have Gemini located in your chart. It matters at this time. You want to work with that energy wherever you have Gemini in your chart. Also, check out what action you got going down in the 3rd house, Gemini's house, which is all about communication. This energy is at the forefront here. And much like I encourage the earth signs, I recommend, as you enter the new year, just give yourself 72 hours to journey with the card that represents your sun sign and just see what it reveals to you. What do you learn from carrying that energy signature with you? It's sort of like having a portable altar with you. In a way, it really does hold a charge. And if you bring it out of your pocket from time to time and you look at it and you take in the visual imagery of the card, you will find that they speak to you and they reveal layers upon layers of information. And some of it is information that you won't find in any book. It's not traditional. And in no way, shape, or form does it make it wrong. It's the way it is speaking to you. It's the way that it is speaking to you. You have to trust what you're drawing down here. It has something to offer that is meant to come in. It enacts a certain balance in the world, okay? Balance in your life, balance in your world, yes, but balance in the greater sense with the collective energy of the South Node. A balance. See, that's the thing about that Libra energy. What's justice? You'll hear people say justice is blind. And justice is blind because it's not something that can necessarily be judged based on superficial appearances. You have to see with a different kind of sight. You have to have a different kind of vision to know what is just. Also, with justice, it's about knowing how to hold shadow and light in proper measure because you cannot dissect them. They are interrelated with each other. They are 2 sides of the same coin. If there wasn't darkness, there would be no light. Darkness birthed the light. That's the way it works. It is the way that it works. So this is a very interesting piece here too, right? So all of these concepts, you see the dualism too with all these cards, which I find very interesting, right? Gemini, you'd work with the Magician, all right? And hey, you may also, those of you that you want to work with that archetype of Gemini, since it is sort of like this portal into initiation of the alchemist here, where you can transmute all of this stuff and you can get beyond it. And instead of being taken down by that lightning, you can ride the light. And people will say, oh, you can't do it. No, this always has to be bad. It has to be so destructive. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's just a belief too. You get to decide how you encounter the unexpected experiences in your life. You get to decide how you encounter what's disruptive. There's 14:44 on the clock. That's what time it is. That is the building block of the future. the more that you crave creature comforts, the more that you will be held back. You know, something that looks really destructive can be extremely creative. And I say that because Cities and Dust, that song that opened this up by Susie and the Banshees, that was inspired when Susie went on a trip to Italy, and she saw the fate of Pompeii, and she became particularly sort of enamored, you could say, with one of the petrified bodies. And she said of this petrified body in an interview she did in Cream, which was an old which was an old music mag back in the 80s. She said, I almost expected it to get up and move. She expected the dead to be reanimated. And I do think maybe there is like a little bit of that theme running through for the Air Sign Collective. Maybe there's something that, you know, it came undone. It came undone unexpectedly. It might have been a bit of chaos. It might have been a bit of lightning. It may have been a tower experience. It may have blown your mind. It also may have been destructive. But I feel that there's also this energy coming in about, ironically, through that leveling experience, you somehow were able to find a new sense of balance. And when I look at that justice figure, I get it coming through in the sense of finding it through a certain sense of stoicism, yes, but also understanding that these things are necessary in order for there to be creative cycles in our life. Certain things have to come undone. See, because there's new truths born every minute. Truth is entirely subjective. There's little t truth. You have your personal belief. You have your personal sort of philosophy of life that you identify with. And that's your little t truth. But the ultimate t truth is that thing that comes down as the leveling experience. It brings to an end everything that's familiar. And when you're in unknown territory and you are a wanderer and you don't have anything familiar to cling to, you start to really tap into what big T truth is. And it's one of those things that words really fail to express. You know, that's the time when we express these things more creatively. We need to communicate about these visions in different ways. And the Aquarian age coming in is a big time of the rebirth of creativity, because let's face it, there's a lot that needs to transform there with auto-tune and, you know, lip syncing, and everything is so overproduced. I really miss music from like the garage band days of the 60s, the 70s. Like I like the more raw, kind of grimy, grungy sort of sound, you know. I like the early 80s. And, you know, the thing is, though, is that with the popularity of pop music, things started to move more and more away from true, raw expression. So I do feel like music is really coming forward. I think there will be a lot shifting in music. I think there will be a lot of grassroots movements around music coming in with the Aquarian age. I think people are going to need to express what they're going through, what they're feeling in bold, brand new ways that make people pay attention. Like when punk broke out on the scene, it wasn't about, you know, it wasn't about making a bunch of money and, you know, getting all the chicks. Well, maybe it was about getting some chicks, man. It very well could have been, but it was more a movement, you know, to express a feeling of unrest, to have a voice, you know? And I really feel like that energy is coming forward again. I feel it, you know? And a lot of people are going to have a hard time with it because they're very set in their ways. They're very set in their ways. So I like how this energy is coming in tandem with this message of Cities and Dust, right? Just Pompeii was just complete decimation, you know? And that decimation has been preserved. Like you can go and you can see it, you can witness it. It's something that you cannot really speak of, but you see it, and it it has a charge. You understand that decimation through the visual expression of it. So it's still communication. A monument is a sort of communication, right? Archetypes are a certain kind of communication. But she was so inspired. She was so inspired by that she came back from her trip, and she wrote Cities in Dust. And it's one of the most well-known songs that Susie and the Banshees put out there. It's from their album Tinderbox, ironically, that came out in 1985. So for those of you that are Generation Xers or older, you know, you might want to look back to 1985. What was going on in your life back then? There might be a point of reflection there. Something that's sort of like an energy signature trapped in that space and time that is a bit of the Saturn that needs to be made less stubborn, needs to give way a bit to the water, right? Because Saturn's been in Pisces. So that's another interesting energy. Something cardinal in that place of mutability. Right? Really interesting energy coming in with that. But you can see something very destructive. Inspired something very creative with that song. So there's something really coming through here about not judging people for how they choose to express themselves. Because just because it's different than your mode of expression doesn't make it wrong. And maybe you felt like this, air signs. Maybe you felt the weight of judgment. Maybe others have misinterpreted and felt judged by you because of the mode of communication. They're not understanding it. There could be communication gaps, but I'm claiming it right here and right now that the Tower, this is Aquarius energy. I'm going with the modern interpretation. It's very much in alignment astrologically as well. Right? So Aquarius, be bold, be daring, carry that tower with you. Think of it as a tower of power. What is it? Do you think you know? It's that kind of energy, okay? There's something about this that's really wanting to be experienced in the physical, like taking something that seems so kind of esoteric, mystical, and rooting it in your physical. Get out there, you know, run your errands with your tarot archetype in your pocket. And if you're just tuning in for the collective download, you know, which energy are you sort of harmonizing with right now in terms of air? Are you harmonizing with Aquarius or Libra or Gemini? You know, pick which one. You kind of want to dip into that energy through working one of these cards on your path for 72 hours. You can journal about it. You can do meditations on it. I don't know, maybe it'll inspire something creative out of you. You know, you might write a song about it. You might paint something, draw something, okay? However it inspires you. I feel like this is being taken to that next level with the air sign collective. Don't just walk with it, okay? Don't just sit with it, meditate with it. Put it into action through creativity. Create something that sort of holds what you learn from your time of moving through that card for 72 hours, right? A little bit of an exercise there for us all to work with. And I think it can be helpful to work with this kind of energy, to not necessarily look at like what's been destructive or what's been lost as being so fatalistic, right? No, we always know that whenever something falls away to the shadows, it always presents a way through. And you're in the center of that. You're in the center of that. Now, what's really wild about Cities in Dust is, you know, I was planning on sitting with Jim and seeing, you know, if more wanted to come through for the air signs. And I was like, well, what the heck is this? Cities in Dust is Susie and the Banshee. So what's up with that, Jim? And I was like, should I still pull out this book? Should I do a little bibliomancy and see what comes through here? And I was like, yeah, I should. So I did my thing, and I was so shocked when I opened it up and I arrived at the page. It came forward because I was like, there's no words there, but yet I knew exactly the energy, and it definitely looked like a city in dust, broke down in unfamiliar land, mountains off in the distance. What's over those mountains? You don't know. How are you going to get where you need to go? Right? This energy coming in for the air sign collective, sort of getting a higher view. May not be much of a view, but just trying to stay elevated and taking a stand on what's been brought down there. It's like, okay, well, I'll bite. And I was told to look at the next 3 pages, so I did. Okay, what I see here is the start of a journey. All right, you're about to head down a road, and you're heading into unfamiliar territory. And there's going to be a lot of space and time here for integration as you head on down this road. Now, this journey, what came in on the Earth sign read the other night was Jim saying, you can't get there by car. Right? So think in different terms about the vehicle, what the vehicle is, what this journey is. It could be a journey of the mind. It could be a creative journey. It could be a journey into the center of you. It could be a journey you take with another. It could be a road you walk at first alone, and then you find another along the way. And why would I say you find another along the way? Well, because here comes the ride. Here comes the ride. I followed it through. Okay. I followed it through. I kind of couldn't help. I followed it through, and I said, what's the last image here? So I'll show you the last image. All right. You're in the driver's seat here. It may seem like it's all about other people, or you may have been in that mindset, but something's going to get revealed to you about you got all you need to get where you need to go. And you're at the wheel here, all right? So I looked back because I was like, okay, I'm going to look back. I'll show you some images as they call out to be shared. You might need to do a little cleansing along the way, do a little healing there. Just allow yourself to be born anew. I just heard it's almost like, why do you have to go and have somebody else baptize you? You can baptize yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can dedicate yourself to your path. So there might be something coming in around that too, some kind of symbolic baptism, okay? Yeah, and do take time to rest, right? Take time to rest, take time to dream, take time to ground out along the way. There's no rush. You just got to keep it moving, but honor the rhythms that sort of set your pace, okay? So I finally came to some writing. And when I read, I was like, whoa. And he says, I'm interested in film because to me, it's the closest approximation in art that we have to that actual flow of consciousness in both dream life and in the everyday perception of the world. Hold that up for a moment. So if you want to screenshot it. So the communication is visual. The communication that is coming in for you is visual. You will interact with it archetypally. You will also interact with it through activation of the avatar. It's like embodying the higher consciousness, bringing it down to earth. It doesn't have to be such a lofty thing. Role playing is a way of doing that. trying characters on for size, viewing life as theater. See, there's those who have opposition to this, to the exploration of different states of consciousness. That's interesting. And perhaps that was okay. It's sort of like, yeah, you got to get a different view, right? With the way that turned, you know, it communicates something, right? It communicates that there's a need to like kind of flip the script, get a different perspective, look at things in a new way. And it can feel like a little disruptive. And there can be blocking energy around that, around moving into expansion. It's always the way it is. Anytime you start to step into something more, there will be all the parts in oneself and all the supporting characters that will be happy to convince you that it's better to just sort of stay with the status quo. And so there does go hand in hand with that experience of moving into something more, a time period where you're the odd man out, or you're the rebel, or you're the person that nobody understands, or you're the wanderer. But it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can be a very positive thing. And then others come down the road. They come down the road in time, in their own time. And I thought this message was really interesting here, because on the other side, there is this little excerpt of writing, and it really ties into the Earth sign collective read and the whole theme about the clowns and jokers. Okay, so I want to read it because I do feel like this is a tie-in thread there. It's like this continuation. I like doing the reads like this because I find they have a way of flowing together very synergistically. And you may wonder, well, if, you know, we normally start with air, why didn't I start with air? Well, of course, it was Capricorn's solar return. So we started with Earth. And then I looked at the next sign after Capricorn, that's Aquarius. That's why we're going into the air right now. Normally, well, I mean, that makes sense, actually. You know what? It makes sense. Because the completion of one cycle, okay, it's like just dawning on me right now, right? Yeah. The Earth is the completion of the cycle. So there's a completion of the cycle with an old manifestation. I say this because at the very bottom of this excerpt, it says, the end. Okay, so this has come to an end, and this is what we're stepping into. I see that. Look, the black and white too, just like those the Libra pillars, right? That's very interesting. See, the way through is out of the darkness, out of the unknown, through this communication in a new way, bringing the dream life and the everyday perception of the world into expression through art that allows a flow of consciousness where they can be rooted in material reality. This is interesting. So I'll read this to you because I do feel it ties into that storyline that was going on with the earth signs. It says, Doc smiles. Doc, well, we'll see you later, kid. The rest of the gang will be real glad to see you. They sure will. Well, Doc, Clown Boy, and the Blue Lady start moving toward the rising sun into the mountain desert. Every now and then they turn and wave. Clown Boy leaping up and down madly and waving goodbye. As they slowly disappear, camera changes focus to Billy, the hitchhiker, the kid, the killer, hunkered over the dead, smoldering fire. The end. So it's interesting because it almost has this like quality of the ending of a character, a role you were playing in a particular storyline. It's like you offed that part of yourself. And so you may sort of be in a place at this time, air signs, where you're sort of coming into a new awareness through accessing your higher consciousness of who you're here to be now. See, because you're not stuck being any one sort of way. There's like a fluidity to that. There's a way that you can continue to grow and expand over time. In fact, let's hope you do. That's so important, right? It's so important. But it seems like certain games that were fun to play in the past or entertained you for a while, certain roles that you played, certain storylines you were involved in, they're going through a reinvention at this time. And there's also a lot coming in about the vision being something that you're seeing, maybe. You're seeing it, and you want to share it, these insights that you're having or things that are kind of coming up for you, but you don't really know how to communicate them. And maybe in some cases, you've even tried to share your thoughts or what you're experiencing with others, and you notice there's a communication gap. I do feel like there's somebody else out there that also understands your communication. I feel like that has something to do with this ride, you know? There is a way forward. And maybe you pick up more along the way. So maybe the end comes before the beginning. Maybe this is like a retrospect coming from the future. You know what I mean? Like, here comes, Capricorn on the scene, rolling up with, a clown car full of jokers, right? Maybe this is what it's about. It's like that was like the prequel, it's sort of like showing us like the end is actually the beginning. It comes back around again too. It does maybe become reanimated. You know what I'm saying? As the visions hatch. And I felt really pulled at this time to draw a card for you. And I got Bakuna. And you see here, I just drawed it at random, number 16, same association as the tower, breaks down to number 7. I mean, 7's lucky. Sometimes the unexpected brings us good luck, but we tend to look at good luck as something that's rather elusive. But maybe we could change our luck by changing our vision when we sort of like encounter these unexpected experiences. If we can understand that they're there to crack something open, some new kind of potential. And yeah, maybe there is cleansing away. And it's interesting, it's like raining out here tonight. And there is a cleansing that's happening tonight. But there's new vision that also comes forward as a result. New vision that's electrifying, and it's meant to be sort of the initiation point of the change that is needed to bring in that spirit of that cauldron of Dagda, which is the cauldron that feeds all. It's the collective consciousness. It's the promise on the other side of the storm. And you see here with Makuna, it says journey. It's associated with a journey. And I thought that was wild because it ties right in with Jim Morrison's energy that came in there visually of him going on a journey. So big Rado energy coming through, a journey. And we know that a journey takes a full cycle in Rado. It's never just like, oh, we're just kind of like, going on this little side quest journey here. No, it's a full cycle, usually a full turning of the wheel. So we started this with Capricorn, and we'll end up back with Capricorn, we'll be at that time in that clown car full of jokers, but we'll be at the wheel. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's something really to celebrate, right? There's also some piece coming in here about some of you are going to be really inspired to get more into theater, get more into filmmaking, get more into YouTube. You know, you might feel really inspired to put yourself out there through the medium of video. Some of you may be writing plays, or you may be writing scripts, you know, things along these lines, but not just for any intention, like the seeds of transformation. Doing something you feel called to do, not having it be about sort of a chasing the bag, you know what I'm saying? Or trying to adhere to any sort of set program and the way it's done, but really just doing it your own way. Doing it your own way and trusting that, sort of like if you build it, they will come kind of energy. Like those jokers, those jesters, those clowns, those merrymakers, those explorers, those wanderers, those people who are just like you, they will come. Once you really allow yourself to step out of the like broke down palace mindset and you bring down those castles in the sky and root them on earth, you'll have a really different perspective. All the opportunity is in spontaneity. And in fact, there's going to be spontaneous opportunities coming in. And these are things that will come in out of the blue. They'll be unexpected. And they're the result of your avatar magnetizing to you these doors that you're meant to walk through that are more harmonious with your new frequency. So initially, as you're going through that attunement, it may feel a little uncomfortable. You may feel a little awkward. You may feel like a dork. You may feel like the odd man out, and it doesn't matter. Go with it, because that's where all the growth is. So this is also coming through as an ally. We're gonna do like a read, but I had to bring in this channel download to open up. Okay, with Makuna here. Makuna, in its creative aspect or light building aspect, it is working with the energy of Uranus and Mercury, right? So again, that communication, unexpected travel, these two elements coming in here as an energy signature. It's about flowing with transitions, with ease, you know, being able to be present even within transition, being able to be present in liminal spaces, knowing how to make a home in a liminal space. To not feel out of your element there, but to just be able to understand. It's sort of like being in the waiting room before it's time to have that new birth in your life, or it's like being behind the stage and waiting for that moment when the curtain comes up. It's all about heading down the less beaten path. It's about boldly stepping into the unknown. And it's about avatar activation through the Atman, which is the bridge of higher consciousness. So it can take the wheel and steer your course, so you can get the coordinates that are right for you, not according to somebody else's direction. The age of Aquarius isn't about gurus. Gee, you are you. The answers are inside of you. They're all inside of you. It doesn't matter if somebody else thinks, oh no, that's not right. That's not traditional. No, this card can only be Mars. It can only be Mars. Well, Makuna here is very much holding that same tower energy, is it not? It's a new way of looking at it. And it's associated with Uranus. Number 16. Looks like a tower to me. Maybe a tower brings a journey that blows your mind. You know what I'm saying? Okay? This kind of energy. So in its destructive cycle, it's clinging to comfort. It's fear in the unfamiliar. It's resisting change. It's invested in misunderstanding that which you don't understand. And so it's just easier to have opposition to it. It's being stuck in the mud. It's no spontaneity. It's no enthusiasm for life. So you know what to look out for here, this energy coming in. Makuna also stimulates key neurotransmitters in the brain that fire off the pineal gland. So this is a time when you do need to consult your pineal gland. And any way you can work with it, that is going to help you, because the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. And there is something here about, it's time to really activate that part of ourselves to be able to listen to our soul's voice and answer its call. It's what opens up the road and sets us on a journey, on an adventure. So this might be something you want to work with. Do your research about it. Talk to the appropriate people about it. Your healthcare providers, all that jazz. But I really wanted to bring that in because I just thought, wow, it's so much. It's so much to share. Okay, but we're going to pull out the Arcane BS deck here. I'll have to read that later. I'll have to read that later. That might be like a little side note thing I do. Let's see. Where is my Arcane BS deck? Oh, here it is. Let me grab this here. And let's do just like we did for the earth signs, okay? I'm going to divide it into 3 piles. And we'll go ahead and go the way that I had it laid out with the tarot cards. So Libra will be the last one, okay? And then in the center, we'll have Gemini. And then the first up will be Aquarius. Bottom of the deck energy. Yeah, digging ghost energy here. All right. Digging ghost energy can really hold us back. And yes, you don't have to listen to somebody else's interpretation of what is the right way to approach your spirituality. There's all kinds of holes in those theories, right? You have to trust what comes through you. It's coming through you for a reason. Cleanse your vision. Don't let it be ruled by others' perceptions. Such an Aquarian card there. Yes, yes, yes. Time to cleanse the vision. Cleanse the vision of this influence. You know what I'm saying? Okay, more collective messages coming through. I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle here, though. Yeah. See, it's time to be master of the hunt. Celebrate what was brought down. Celebrate the death of the old way. There's good times ahead. That's what you're aiming for, man. I mean, this looks like fun, I have to say. Yeah, let me aim for that. I want to have more fun, man. I just want to flow with it, right? I don't want to be walking around like I got to stick up my butt, I want to just kind of ease on down that road, like that energy. It's good energy. All right, so we're shuffling for Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And this is for any significant placement in any of those signs, okay? Or if you have a prominent placement in their respective houses. So Aquarius is the 11th house, Gemini is the 3rd house, Libra is the 7th house. Okay. Or if you are the descendant sign, okay, so that would be Leo rising, Sagittarius rising, or Aries rising. Okay. So let's check it out. We're going to just do real simple 3 cuts. Look at the bottom card and the top card. Look at the timestamps in, but these are just little add-on messages here. Some people just want to skip ahead, though. They just want to take in just what's fast and easy, what's convenient. There's something about the journey. This piece has been really coming out lately. There's a lot to be said for the journey. You get so much out of the journey. It's not all about getting there, man. It's not all about getting there. It's about what you experience along the way. Okay, so let me put this in the frame so you can see this. I'm going to move you over here, Jim. Just let's see, where can I put you, Jim? I'll put you up here. Let me just move him over here. There we go. It'll work. Okay. I want you to be able to see me make the cuts here. Okay, so this first cut is for Libra. Okay, and this middle cut is for Gemini. And this is Aquarius. So we're going to open up with Aquarius first and just get some additional messages. Wow, I love it. Look, looks like that wanderer holding up that wand. You see how the energy is really interesting right now. It's so like, it's like once you get on a certain track, like once you tap into a certain frequency, it just like keeps flowing into the further expression of that energy. It's wild. So yes, this is like being in that place where you're like, I don't know who I am anymore. But also not really being, troubled by that. You see? This is actually being empowered by it. It's like, ooh, wait a minute. I don't know who I am anymore. Well, this is cool. Because this gives me an opportunity to, really just explore that. Get into the center of it. Take my time with it. Looks like a lot of empowerment coming through here that's going to have a ripple effect. And this is certainly about a journey into the center of oneself. That maybe comes through a physical journey. It could involve a physical journey. But I do see you kind of boldly heading into territory where you're not quite sure how you're going to get there. You're not quite sure how you will hit that bullseye. But you know that it's worth taking up this journey. It's very much like on that quest, that wizard quest, heading down the road, looking for answers. People often don't consider that aspect, that when you have questions, it's a good thing actually, because it means that you have an opportunity to arrive at an answer to something that's been a mystery to you. And there's a certain empowerment that comes through that process of awakening to new understanding, gaining a new perspective here. You're in a very deeply cathartic process right now of just really figuring out, who am I? What am I here to do? What road do I want to walk around here? Do I want to walk around here? Interesting. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe you've been kind of like walking around, the same old road, okay? And you're still in this process. Eventually you're going to get to the center of yourself. You've been kind of going in circles. I feel like as you're in this process of going in circles, you've been heading down a certain track. It's starting to get like so repetitive. You know that point? Where something becomes so repetitive that you go, wait a minute. I've seen this before. I've experienced this before. It doesn't matter if it's through a different person. It's still the same old song and dance. And then it's like at that moment, there's an opportunity for empowerment because you recognize that like, wait a minute, I'm creating this. Whoa. And once you see that, you start to move a little different. So I feel like you're sort of in this process right now of arriving at this answer or this discovery. And when I say that, people intellectualize that. This is not an intellectual experience. Like, it's one thing to go, oh, well, I know I'm the creator. I know that I have this creative power and that how I see things greatly influences, what I experience here. It's very different when you got avatar activation. No, you tangibly see that, whoa, my thoughts are things. I'm running this script. I'm running this show. 54, 44 on the clock. Yes, this is what the hermit learns. When you go down that road on your own, this is what you learn, you see, you get to create it as you go. So I think you're in the process of having one of these kinds of experiences. And maybe it's a little weeble wobbly. I don't know why I got this, but you know those little games you can play, and they have that maze energy here, right? They have that maze energy, and they got the little silver ball, and you have to kind of keep tilting it this way and that so you can get the ball into the center. I think this is sort of what you've been up to. It's like you've been tempering things, a little bit of working with that Sagittarian kind of energy, right? The temperance angel. It's taken time, divine timing. It doesn't land in the center until the point it's meant to. And see, there's only one way you can get it to land in the center too, right? You can't be agitated. Like, ah! You know, that ball's gonna go flying, then you gotta go and find the ball just so you can play again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you threw a ball away, you know? You feel like you lost your play, you know, you didn't get your opportunity there. Maybe you're finding the ball. Maybe you're finding the ball again through retracing your steps. You gotta go around a certain loop, back around a certain loop till you get to the center. Then you can move forward in a new way. Interesting. But see, you wouldn't have known that unless you had been on the journey. But now that you have, you got an opportunity to be the pie night. You get to get all the pie here. You're like, I want that pie in the sky dream to come true for me. I'm ready to take flight with my vision, and I will wear it as my mantle as I move forward into the future. Yes, okay. So, you have an ability to bring this in here. This is some good energy, man. What's on the top here for you? Yeah, saxophone fetus. I love it. You're tapped into that frequency. It's the rebirth of Slick, man. You're in that time where you are ready to come on through with a whole new sound. If you're a musician, you may be creating something brand new here, a brand new sound. You may be working with a genre of music you've never worked before. This is the birth of creativity, though. And the birth of creativity comes through many ways. Certainly, it can be through art. And I mean, I think this piece is coming in. The more that you can find expression creatively for those things that are a bit of a mystery to you, or you're trying to figure something out, instead of like staying in your head with it, like pick up a pen, or you know, pick up your guitar, pick up a microphone, you know, pick up a painting brush, or pick up your staff, man, and go for a walk and just see what comes on through, you know. Yeah, this is you ready, you know, to step into a creative cycle. But there's first there's like a certain loop you have to travel here to get back a ball so you can get back in the game. That's what I see, okay? Very, very interesting energy, Aquarius. I like this, okay? This is cool. This is cool. All right, Gemini. Let's see what's coming in for you. The all-seeing slice. That's so funny because the pie night came through, right? The pie in the sky, you know. Oh, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. That's amore. Yeah. There's something you're seeing here. You got your own slice, you know what I'm saying? You got your own slice of that pie. It may be a collective pie, right? But you hold your piece. And there's something here that you're seeing very clearly about the piece you hold. This is a vision that is coming through for you very strongly. The all-seeing slice. There is something coming through here, Gemini, for you about making sure that you're really able to refine your vision by taking better care of your body. Be mindful of what you're eating here. Maybe just a slice, okay? Maybe not the whole pie. This piece coming in. There's something about working to make some changes dietarily that allow you to still have what you enjoy, all right? It doesn't have to be all this or all that. You can find the middle way through. You know, still enjoy your pizza. It's like trying to dim out here. No, don't take away my pizza, man. I'm not taking away your pizza. What you do is up to you. I'm just saying. There might be a way that you can kind of like just bring things into balance a little bit more. There might be some kind of habit you have that's kind of blocking your sight a little bit, not making you as clear as you could be, not making you feel as creative as you could be. This is like an interesting aspect coming through, because we think about processed food and we think about all the additives and all the stuff in there, and there's a lot that's coming in here, right, about neurotransmitters and the pineal gland and the networking in the brain and all that. And a lot of the additives that are put in the food, you know, they can dull the senses. They can. So maybe you need to just make your own pizza too. It's okay too. But there's something about cleaning up the diet a little bit. Not taking in stuff that can like make you feel dull, apathetic, low energy, you know, because I do feel like there's something here that wants to come through for you. Your vision wants to come through for you. Your creativity wants to come through for you. You want to feel inspired, right? You want to have energy to move forward. You want to be able to see clearly which way is right for you to move forward in a certain situation at this point in your life. But there's something you're doing habitually that is affecting, you know, that clarity from coming through. So see about kind of just fine tuning that a little bit, finding a little bit more balance, sort of exploring better quality maybe is coming in here. Yeah, look at that. Wow, that's so trippy the way that came out, man. Yeah, you know, maybe eating a little bit more close to the earth. Yeah, transforming this energy, you know, so you're kind of like moving more into the transformation of what's made you feel sort of like dull, you know, dull thinking, clouded vision. There's an expansive vision that comes in for you. You notice you have like a lot more clarity about your choices and what you need to do. When you first of all, you know, just eat closer to the earth, you might need to get a little bit more protein too that's coming in. Like a paleo approach might be something that works out really well for you, especially so you can kind of transform something in relation to your health too, that's sort of become like very cyclical. Like you might find that you experience improvement for a while and then you kind of like backslide again. It's because of something that's going on with the diet and the way that it's affecting your energy, also the way it's affecting your brain, the way it's affecting your whole nervous system, really. Because when we look at the brain health and we look at the nervous system, we also have to bring the endocrine system into play. And this is all about communication too. This is a network of communication. Yeah. Those old communication links are outdated. That's what I get. It's almost like you're getting an energy attunement. You know, there's new communication coming through for you. Your vessel needs to be able to handle the expansion. You might want to work with some fungi too in relation to that, right? Certainly, if you're a psychonaut, have a good time. But also, some people do work with microdosing as a way to also experience conscious expansion in the form of being able to transmute, like that old heavy trauma stuff, the old shadowy stuff. They're like lugging around with them that, you know, it's part of us, right? It's not about sort of casting shame on the shadow, not acknowledging it, holding space for those experiences. But there does come a point of, you know, needing to have that integration where you also see the empowerment that comes through that, right? Because you can't have the light without the shadow. So there's something that maybe can give you a different perspective. Working on a microdosing level, that won't have you like tripping out, man. You won't be like tripping balls. But it can be very helpful. There's a lot of people that have had a lot of benefit, and you can do your own research on that, but it is starting to gain some traction even within the psychiatric and the medical community. So it's something some of you may be exploring, but also, lion's mane, reishi, working with some of these as well. Maybe also working with them in terms of coffee too, getting a different kind of buzz here, because you may be buzzing a lot because there's a lot of energy flowing through your body. I don't know why I got like this sense of you're being like rewired here, but something's sort of like gumming up the program because of the way you're kind of like noshing on certain things a little too much. There's nothing wrong with having some indulgence, but there's something here that is making it more difficult for you to have that clarity of vision and to just feel like you can really get on board with this. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's also affecting your sleep here, right? With the filthy mattress coming in here. You also may be dealing with really grabby energy. So if you do feel like you're kind of taking on other people's energy, some people call that being empathic. I don't like the term empathic at all, because I feel like, you can pick up other people's energy without having any empathy whatsoever. You can just have really leaky boundaries, right? So there's something here about you're more sensitive at this time. You're more sensitive. And so everything that you're going to be taking in, you're going to feel it a lot more intensely, and it will manifest in the physical, in the way it's affecting your health. I got a lot coming in around sleep, and especially in relation to kind of like grabby energy. You're picking up too much energy, like from the ether. You're picking up too much energy from the wider collective consciousness. And you may have times when you sort of feel like you can't sleep because you're buzzing so much, right? You might also feel a connection to a specific person too. This could be like still feeling like you're kind of tapped into an intimate connection. You may need to sort of like clear some stuff out. If you're still sleeping on the same mattress you all shared, you might want to get rid of that mattress. You might also want to be more aware of like who you're connecting with intimately as well. Like, are you in the space where you can feel really empowered in that, or do you kind of need some time to come into your own essence, your own energy, before you're sharing yourself in that way with another? Because that's your ojas. That's your ojas. The big O, like that's the sort of spilling the ojas, and that ojas is the nectar of life. It's your vitality. So there's something here about you might be sort of noticing this, you might be noticing that certain connections that used to really do it for you, you find you're more drained with them now. It's not having the same experience. Okay. Also, I feel like if you feel other energy tapping in, or you just feel like you're picking up stuff from the ether and you're like, this isn't even my energy, then you might want to do something like create some kind of practice for yourself where you can really wind down at night. Maybe, do a little meditation, mock up a bubble around you that's just your own little bubble of energy, and you choose whatever you want to fill it with. Okay. You can fill it with unicorns and rainbows and lollipops if you want. Like, it's up to you. Maybe you want sweet dreams. There's nothing wrong with that, Put whatever you want to put in your bubble and be like, this is my energy here. And I declare it is so that this energy is going to be in place for a full 24 hours. And I'm just going to marinate in this energy and marinate in this frequency, align with this frequency, and watch how your sleep transforms. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah. Because there's something here that you keep giving to. All right. And it's draining your power. Horse medicine is about power, and it's about movement. And you need to have your power for the journey ahead. Horse is also associated with Rhino. So this is about be aware of what you're being loyal to. Be aware of what you're being loyal to, okay? Loyalty may be a key issue for you. You've been really loyal to something that maybe hasn't shown you the same loyalty. It's a two-way street. Because if you're the only one nurturing here, you don't got enough spoons. At one point, you've got to take some of your own medicine, okay? That's what I got. That's what I got. Let me do a cut of the deck for you and see what's coming in here for you. Yeah. There you are, Gemini. One part of you wants to cling to what's familiar. The other part of you is ready to step into the new. And, you know, both have equally a strong position. But there is a way through, you know. You don't have to look, you know, back to the past or toward the future. You can merge both of these two together and come into the eternal now. And then you're not going to feel so stuck anymore. You'll see things very clear. And look at that. I'm right there. It opens up your road. There's that clown car full of jesters, and you're in the driver's seat. 333. Okay, Capricorn could be an ally to you. I believe this came in for them, right? But once you see this way through, you're going to be moving forward with a lot of determination. So this looks good, but it looks like you're cutting off something that you've been nurturing too much. You know, it's draining your power. It's not getting you where you want to go. You're loyal to it. It's not loyal to you. It's robbing you of your rest, your peace of mind. And some of you, it's robbing you of your ojas. This is an intimate partner, and you're recognizing, yeah, this isn't working for me anymore, right? But once you move forward from this, you're very determined in the direction you're heading here, because you're finally able to, like, not feel so divided anymore. You're in your own essence. Getting in your own essence will have you seeing things much more clearly, okay? Libra, right? Woo, 1/11/33 Libra. That's what time it is. Bottom of the deck here. We got the nip slip Pope, all right? So there's something here about understanding that you're ready for peace, right? You're ready for peace. And I'm kind of like looking at this as sort of like, how's it coming through? It's coming through as like righteous rebellion, right? Sometimes in order to get peace, there first has to be a little discord. It's true. Sometimes you can't just kumbaya it out, man. Sometimes you can't find that place of serenity in your life until you first experience upheaval. Sometimes you can't experience simplicity in your life until things get really complicated. And sometimes you can't clear out the bad blood until you let yourself get a little riled up. Bring your fire forward. Maybe speak some strong words, right? And there is something here that, you know, you got to really look at in terms of the roots. And I don't know why, but I'm looking at this tooth here. It's making me think of a wisdom tooth, right? There's something about don't lose the wisdom of your roots. And maybe you need to go further back in your roots rather than whatever you were told to believe by an authority. An authority who tells you the way to power, right? What it means to really hold power. And yet I don't see them raising up that wand. In fact, something about a certain facade, about what is true, what is right, what is wrong, what is the way through, has been caught slipping here. And I do think that you're rising above this now because you gained a certain perspective. You gained a certain perspective. You may have also been judged by somebody, okay? This coming through. Somebody may have judged you. They may have seen you as taking a fall, or they may have viewed you as not being spiritual because you wouldn't conform to their idea of spirituality. Right? This is like, it's giving me the vibe of somebody tried to put you in a box, right? And then in putting you in a box, because they wanted to kind of rein you in, you know, it's more around control. there was a lot of bad blood around that. And somebody said, wait a minute, Libra's not willing to stay in those borders. Libra is flying the coop here. I don't understand what's going on. There may have been anger about that. There may have been judgment around that. You know, somebody may have felt very self-righteous in their judgment of you. Others may have felt you were self-righteous in their judgment of them. But I feel like there's something that's going on here where all of that's kind of falling away. And it's recognizing that sometimes in order for there to be peace, there's got to be discord. You got to upset people. You got to take a fall in their eyes. You have to slip. And, you know, it's kind of like chutes and ladders, right? You still go someplace. You may slip. You slip down a chute. You may like where you go. You may like where you wind up, right? I do think there is something going on here, though, with a certain authority, right, figure in your life, or maybe somebody you had up on a pedestal. It's like fallen from grace in your mind. Ooh, maybe that made you see something about the true nature of grace. 1:16 on the clock. Wow, there's that tower energy again, you see? But it brought a gift. This might have also been something that was painful. Something that was painful. There also could have been certain aspects of your spiritual views as well that you pulled out of the root. You recognize that I don't need that anymore. I want to go deeper. I see the limitations here in a certain perspective. It doesn't give me the nurturing it once did. Others may have thought that this was you being maybe sort of superficial, just kind of like casting aside something that used to be foundational for you. I don't know. It was your offering. Yeah. There's a form of cleansing in Ayurveda where it's about cleansing the blood, you know, giving over the bad blood through releasing something, you know, releasing something through the form of your blood. I did that. I did that with this tattoo I had, this Dakini energy here. There's something about cleansing bad blood here and you doing what was necessary to cleanse bad blood, right? And maybe you needed to cleanse it for yourself. You couldn't worry about cleansing it for others. They may have wanted you to, but did you ask to be put in that position? There's something about that. These kind of themes, this kind of energy coming through. And remember, this is a collective energy as well, right? It's a collective energy. So I think this is something that's coming up really strongly here. And maybe you opened up a portal, man. You opened up a portal to the darkness. Yeah. And maybe you had a certain way of viewing what was in that darkness. It was a bit of programming that when you really entered it, right, you recognize that's not true. What I was told about that is not true. And you started to get a different view. And you're like, ooh, you know, being in the unknown, being in this place where, you know, I don't have the answers and I won't conform to the program. And it's kind of, you know, this very unfamiliar territory here. Is it really bad? Is it really bad? You may have been doing a lot of spiritual exploration too. You may have been exploring things that people told you, well, you shouldn't look at that. You shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't do that. If you do that, wow, you know, you're really losing the way. You're going off the trail. You come from a really traditional family. They may have some kind of resistance to your eccentricities. And that's how it's coming through. Or even among your peer group, okay? Yes. But I see for you, this is like liberation. It's liberation. It's freedom for you. Maybe you got messy. Maybe you had to lose control a little bit, man. Maybe you had to lose yourself. It's peace for you. It's peace for you. Yeah. And with the thief here, I feel like, what once had your heart. Like, no, man, give me that back. You took back your heart. You're like, give me back my sweetness, man. Give me back the sweetness. Give me back the ojas. Give me back the nectar of life. The ojas is stored in the chambers of the heart. You know what's really good for helping to nourish ojas is raw honey. You might want to bring in a little raw honey, Libra. It's also really good for the digestion. It's excellent for the digestion. That kind of medicine, though, you need to work more with the medicine of the sweetness, less of the bite of the wasp, Allow yourself to experience the sweet taste of life again, right? You will reclaim your heart. You might need to reclaim a little hedonism, right? A little play. It's time for you to take back your heart from what you allowed to steal it. Interesting. What do we got here? Woo! All right. Well, yes, this looks like a little bit of some kind of like tantric initiation action going on here. We have the pupa vomiting on cats. Okay, so yes, so this is interesting. You're in a chrysalis stage right now, and I see there at the top, okay, look, there's like a skull there. That's so interesting. So yes, there is something that you're creatively transforming through what you learned entering the mysteries, right? With the cat energy, entering the mysteries, through entering unknown territory. It's like you're in this process of rebirthing yourself. You're in this chrysalis stage right now, but you're about to break on through to the other side. Ooh, what's coming in here behind this? And here we go. We got this effing guy. All right. Well, I mean, maybe you're encountering somebody that you've known in other lifetimes. Maybe there's been an interesting dynamic between the two of you. Somebody's used to carrying that like Pharisee energy. They're used to being the one in charge. They're used to being the one who holds the power. And you're like, oh, but I know other sources of power that don't need to carry a big stick. It's all in me. It's making me think of that. I'm every woman. It's all in me. It's like that place where the masculine and the feminine merge. The secret to that is the way through to the birth of the new creative cycle for you. And there may be something coming in too around an intimate connection that has both of you encountering power in that dynamic of coming together intimately, that is going through a radical transformation. You also may be really reclaiming this for yourself, right? And this is changing the dynamic in a relationship with somebody that used to really have a lot of power over you too. That's very unusual, right? Let's do a cut of the deck and see what we got there, Libra. A lot to consider here. I mean, we have sex, witch, and octopus here. So I do feel like you're in the process of sort of clearing out something that has had too much of a hold on you. And it's related to this vision that is awakening in you. So you may be like kind of clearing out certain people, places, and things from your space that you feel have been sort of like draining your creative power here. Octopus is a medicine of creativity, all right? Creativity, it also is a camouflaged energy as well. So, you know, it's able to adapt to its surroundings, its environment. And so there may be some source here that you need to cut off that is draining your energy, that is feeding off your creativity. That's what I got here. Right? It's a little bit of witchery, Libra. I think you're going to suss out the source though, because I do see you taking that athame and cutting it off. You got it here. You're catching this influence, okay? And it absolutely can be an influence within you too, right? There's something that you only see when you really like get space from it, right? Space death here, okay? There's something you will only see clearly when you get space from it, all right? I think there's a need for you to give yourself some space as you enter into the new year. It's good for you to have time to sort of like be in your chrysalis state. There's a lot of creative juices that are sort of marinating in this chrysalis state, who you're coming into being here. And you are ending a cycle. You're releasing a lot of old energy here. Oh, I love this. Right behind that, what do we got? We got the I don't have any effing clues. So very much is that cardinal energy. Libra, you're a cardinal sign. And this came through for Capricorn too. You see? You're getting space from this, and it's having you gain some kind of clarity that realigns you with your truth. And you may not know how things pan out or what way you're going, but you do know that you're ready to step into that unknown and keep going in the direction of this vision that's starting to come through for you. I feel like there's energy here that's holding you up because you keep like extending a hand to it, and then it's like it bites the hand that's feeding it, and then you end up losing the keys that are the way through. If you get caught up with this energy, you need space from a particular energy, and then you will be able to have clarity about what you want to do to move forward here. And it's really interesting. It is very much aligning with that energy of Capricorn, not having a fixed hand, you know, letting all parts of yourself sort of be transmuted to come into who you are becoming now. You also may have needed to have space from a particular individual, and they may be a little bit angry about it. They may be wanting to read you the riot act because they felt your distance, but you needed to have distance so you could get out of a position where you had to have the answers to everything and hold on to it so tightly. It's like as soon as you let go, right? As soon as you released everything here, as soon as you released expectation, that's when all of the Pathfinder medicine started coming forward for you. So continue to sort of head on this track, because I feel like you're already in this chrysalis state, but there is just one more source here, I feel, that's a draining influence. Give yourself some space. Continue to give yourself some space as you open up the new year, as you step into 2025, because I feel like once you cut off what's been sort of like fed by you, you've been feeding it, and in doing so, you've been like giving up your keys that open up that gate. That gateway of initiation leads to your road that will activate your north node here. You need to be able to suss it out, because then it's going to activate the creative cycle opening. You move out of that time of like really integrating all that Mars Pluto energy with the Scorpio signature coming out there. All right, so you don't have a fixed hand here. Pathfinder medicine. So the full moon that will come in, ooh, interesting. It happened again. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't know if it's something with my phone. I don't know what is doing that. What keeps draining that? It's interesting. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but it like makes the screen go out and then it like flips the orientation. And it's only when I'm in this program. It's only when I'm in StreamYard. That's interesting. Okay. Interrupting the stream of consciousness. Maybe it's something that keeps trying to interrupt your stream of consciousness. Okay. There's a key there. Give yourself some space. Give yourself some space to suss this out so you can cut it out. And very quickly, you'll find that you'll be heading forward. Your fire will be forward. And you will know what you need to say too. There's some kind of message that you're going to be issuing here, or some way you're going to be using your voice that clears the pathway as well. But this is about heading up to the North Node activation. When it comes through, though, once you have that clarity of what needs to be cut off and the clarity of the truth. But I like this. It looks like you're ready. It looks like you're ready to head into unknown territory. And it looks quite interesting. And there may be somebody here that does play a role. You may be having communication with this individual. It may even be, an aspect of yourself too. Like this effing guy, this part of me acting up again. So, be open-minded in your perspective as you take this in. Very, very, very wild messages coming through, okay? A lot to integrate here, a lot to take in. Looks like you're about to break on through the other side of that chrysalis state, though. And with Libra, that's a collective energy. So we're all in this space here. Gives a good kind of focus for the collective of what we need to hold. Give ourselves a little space so we can really understand what is draining that creative energy. What is obscuring the clarity? A lot of times you can't see that until you pan back. Then you get a whole different view of that reality tunnel. Then you'll find the way through.